how many of you here are from front-end background? I mean, oh, okay, a lot. Okay, okay. And how many of you are Ember fans? You know, Ember, I know. How many of you have heard about Ember.js as a framework? Okay, okay. Okay. So I come from Freshworks. So Freshworks is a B2B, SaaS CRM solution provider founded way back in 2010. We started as a single product company, and now we have more than 10 plus enterprise grade products, and we have grown to 5,000 plus employees, 58,000 plus customers, and we have been listed in the major Gartner quadrants. So this is something that we are going to speak about today. Ember plus React, a practical guide to micro frontend integration. And in the agenda section, we will speak about micro frontends, our journey from a monolith to micro frontend kind of architecture. Then what are the options that we have considered? Getting started. Integration side. I'll try to give you a small demo if time permits. So how you have successfully integrated, how we have successfully integrated, and how it's been received, the impacts that we have created, and toward the end of the deck, I have shared the resources and references that helped us a lot. Okay, I'll start with the famous quote. So it basically says, acquiring an awareness of potential solution before exploring the intricacies is the first step towards resolving any problem. So this ultimately says, for example, you know the possible set of solutions for a particular problem that you have. It will help you create, it will help you make, wiser decisions, right? You will be able to, you don't need to delve deep into the intricacies of it. You don't need to, jump into the details of any of the solution. All what you need to know is, these are the solution that is there for my problem. So what we are going to do is we will discuss about the options that we had when we thought about migrating a part of our app. So our code base is in Ember.js, and it's basically a monolith. So monolith, most of you might know, right? It's nothing but a humongous application containing a lot of features, modules and all, everything inside a single code base. So I will speak about the option that we had when we thought about migrating a part of our monolith to micro frontend kind of architecture. Then we'll speak about the challenges that we have faced when we tried to migrate, and the impact it had created. Right. Okay. So micro frontend is nothing but an architectural pattern that help team build autonomous module which they can develop, deploy, release and test, all while they seamlessly coexist. So in an ideal micro frontend kind of architecture, how it will be? So for example, you take an app, chat app for example, you'll be having different modules, right? Like billing module, the inbox module, the reports module, the dashboard module. Think of it in this way: each of these modules, right, how it will be if in case they are completely isolated and they have been created as a micro frontend application, different micro frontend application. So these are the advantages of creating micro frontends from your monolith. Basically simple and decoupled code base, which allows your developers to do certain R&Ds. They can update it, upgrade it whenever they want, because they don't need to worry about breaking some other part of the application, right? So decoupled simple code base, technology freedom. You can build your app and change the tech stack of it whenever you require. So basically technology freedom, the same framework freedom. You can choose any framework of your choice. Team autonomy basically covers everything, independent releases, independent testing, independent deployments, everything. And seamless dev onboarding. Now you just need to concentrate, your devs who are getting onboarded newly just need to concentrate only on business functionality. So these are the advantages of micro frontend architecture, and this is something which is gaining popularity within the dev community, and there are a lot of frameworks shaping up which facilitate you to create micro frontends. Okay. Now, transitioning beyond Ember monolith. So I'll give you an example why we decided to move away from Ember monolith. Okay, before going to the pros and cons, I want you to visualize one thing. I told you, right, you have a chat application or any application for that matter, and you have different modules. Say for example, each of these modules will be having different priority, you know, customer commitments and all. So I work for such a similar team, and we call it AOR. AOR basically means area of responsibility. So for an app, say for instance, take any app, that app will have 5 or 6 AORs working together, and we'll be having a single deployment. So imagine a scenario where you have a particular, your AOR is having a particular customer commitment, and you have to deliver it by this date. And similarly, a different team who is working on a different you know, module have their own commitment, and unfortunately they are stuck with a roadblock. You know, a lot of rewards happening, you know, hot fixes happening there. So ultimately the production is delayed. So what will happen? Your deliverable is getting a hit, right? You cannot push it on time. So for a monolith, for us, we follow monolithic architecture, and for us, we have only one single deployment for the entire app modules. So in that case, it is during that time we thought it would have been great, you know, if we could have a separate micro frontend for our module. So we could have you know, released it whenever we want, not whenever actually. I mean, we'll follow the process. I mean, we could have had the complete control over our module, right? And during this time, our business came to us and told about one particular requirement they want to do, you know, basically revamping the UI. So at that point of time, we thought it's the right time, you know, to build a micro frontend kind of architecture. So one thing that we had to keep in our mind is the business priority. We have a timeline in place, we have to complete it, but we took that chance. So these are the you know, pros and cons of having a monolithic application. Pros, you might know, right? Ease of development, debugging. You are not having any micro frontend. You are everything you have to, you know, you can test it within a single app. Performance I have added in the pros because there are no extra network call to load micro frontend and all. And deployment simplicity, there is a single deployment environment. I mean, you be ready with your changes and that will happen. And consistent user experience, you know, you will have references. You have a single app, a monolithic app. Say for example, you're getting a new requirement, you will have references throughout the app. You can use it, and that ensures you, you know, more or less you will have a consistent user experience, unlike using a micro frontend app. And these are the negatives that we faced within our app. So potential upgrade challenges. I think I have told you that we use Ember.js for our app. So think of this scenario. The current Ember version is 5.x. Now where are we? We are at 3.2x Ember Octane. I still remember when I joined the team a couple of years back, there was a ongoing project. We were at 3.1x and we were trying to migrate to Ember Octane standards. And it itself was a huge project. I mean, ran for a month. We had a lot of bugs just to migrate from Ember 1.x to 1.2x. Now we are at Ember 5.x. I mean, we cannot imagine, you know, going there. You have to go incrementally, you know, 3.2x, 3.5x, 4.x, then 5. So it's not at all, you know, feasible for us. We have to, for time being, we have to stay at 3.2x only. So framework flexibility issues. There may be scenarios you might have met architects who want to do, you know, extreme customizations in your app, you know, in terms of architectural patterns, change of architectural patterns, you know, libraries and tools they want to use in your app. So if in case you are looking for you know, extreme customization, then Ember.js is not for you. Then steep learning curve. This is another you know, issues with Ember. You know, when I joined the team, I started you know, picking up Ember. After a few months, I asked many of my colleagues, you know, how they rate themselves in Ember.js out of 10. So most of the common answer that I got to hear is, you know, not more than 5 or 6. So the learning curve is steep. It will take a lot of time to wrap your head around Ember.js. And app bundle size concern, you know, Ember.js doesn't provide the most optimized bundle size when you compare it with its peers like Solid, Svelte, React, whatever it is. And the risk of single point of failure, as its name says, you know, you have a single monolithic application, something goes wrong somewhere, there are chances, you know, your app crash. Okay, So I told you, right, we got a business requirement to revamp the UI of our application, and we have confirmed that, okay, we will do, we will isolate our module and we'll create a micro frontend out of it. The first question that will come to your mind is what framework to choose from. There are a lot of frameworks, Solid, Svelte, React, Angular, Vue. But for us, React was an obvious choice because of few things. You have to keep timelines into consideration, and we had the developer expertise with React.js, and we all know how rich the ecosystem is for React, how many libraries, tools we have for React. So for us, it was a no-brainer, choosing React.js. These are the basic, advantages: rich community support, popularity and adoption, vast ecosystem of libraries and tools, ease of developer onboarding, and declarative syntax. Even for a novice developer who's joining your team, they can pick up React, when compared with any other similar framework. Okay. So now we have chosen the framework as well. Now the next big question: what kind of approach should we take? So anyways, we have decided to migrate to a micro frontend kind of architecture. Now, what are the options that we have? How can we, frame it? So these are the options that we have considered. Implementing it as an iframe, onboarding micro frontend frameworks, compiling React JSX with Ember.js, and include React as a web component into Ember.js. So I'll go one by one. So iframes. So iframe is the first thing that will come into your mind whenever you think about integrating an app within another app, right? It's a legacy way of integration, and it have a lot of advantages. It's simple to integrate. Proper CSS, JavaScript isolation it will provide. Then there won't be any CSS bleeding. Then technology agnosticism. It basically means framework freedom. You can create your micro frontend app in any framework of your choice. But it comes with a bunch of downsides as well. The problem with accessibility, SEO concerns, then user experience. People who have used iframe might know. Sometimes you will get to see fragmented UI, broken UI, and obviously browser compatibilities as well. So iframe, for time being, for this reason, we had to say, we are out. Now, then what is the next choice? Then we thought about onboarding a micro frontend frameworks. As I told you, right, micro frontend is picking up pace now, and a lot of frameworks shaped up along with it. Frameworks like single SPA, single SPA, whatever you want to call single SPA, then Luigi, then Mosaic, Puzzle, System.js. These are the frameworks that we could consider, but we considered single SPA. Single SPA offered you almost everything that you need, starting from the routing, the dependency management, the migration support, the CLI, the dev tools that it provides. It was packed with everything that we need, but unfortunately, what happened? You had to migrate your legacy code. I will now use the term host app, which is your Ember app. You have to turn your Ember app into a micro frontend single SPA app. We don't want to do it because there are a lot of teams who are parallelly working on our app. We don't want to give them a heart attack at the last moment, modifying your build system and all. So that is something that for now we had parked. We might come back to it at a later point of time. Then the next approach that we considered is compiling JSX, React JSX with alongside Ember. So this was a clean approach, easy approach. But what you have to do, you have to bring in the React modules within the Ember.js code. And Ember.js basically make use of Broccoli behind the hood to bundle the files and all. So in order to compile JSX along with your Ember, what you have to do, you have to tweak a bit in the build system. So what you have to do, you have to onboard Webpack, then Babel and all. This was again an issue for us because you can imagine, right? You have an Ember code base and you have a JSX inside of it. So it was tough to maintain the code, and architecturally also speaking, it doesn't feel like a cleaner approach. Hence, we moved on to the final approach, that is embedding React as a micro frontend during runtime. Runtime in the sense, basically what we are doing is client-side composition. You can imagine, you can think of it in this way. You have an app, you have a button, you click onto that button, you are dynamically calling the bundle and React bundle, and you are embedding it inside your Ember app. Okay, the only downside of it is mild performance concern, but that is a trade-off. Performance concerns in the sense you have to load a bundle and you have to mount the app, right? So that is a mild performance concern that we had, but it's a trade-off. And yeah, okay. Now we have the option. Now we have to finalize an approach. So there were three things that we kept on our mind, that we had on our mind. Choosing an approach from the one that we have discussed. So the solution have to be scalable. Scalable in the sense, it have to be such a way that we should incrementally migrate. Say for example, you started with it, you successfully migrated few pages of your module. Then down the line you should be able to migrate your entire module. So that is scalability. And clean and simple solution. The solution have to be simple and clean. We have to adhere to the business timeline, and the last one is minimal alteration to the host app. Okay, this ultimately means we don't want to touch our legacy code, or rather I should say, we should make limited change to the legacy code, that is our Ember code, because as I told you, right, we don't want to give other developers a headache, we don't want to give an overhead to them. So, considering these checkpoints, the last approach that we have discussed was the one that we have finalized. Okay. Now, we'll discuss more on the code. So, this is a sample app that I have built, which almost covers everything that we have discussed, or I should say, this covers everything that our enterprise grade app has. So if you could see that blue section that is coming up, right, that is a separate app altogether. That is a micro frontend app that is loaded when you click onto the nav bar. So nav bar, there is a separate menu item, React route. You click onto it, you are loading the micro frontend app. I'll try to give you a demo if time permits. I have the code handy. I'll try to give you a demo if we have time. Okay. We'll come to the code snippets. So we had used Vite as our build tool and PNPM for our package manager. So you take the first snippet alone. So PNPM create Vite React MFE template React. So that is nothing but it will create you a boilerplate React code with boilerplate meaning a minimalistic boilerplate code, unlike what you get when you run CRA. So I'll come back to the creating the web component. So this is something, the entry point for the React app, the main.js JSX. So we didn't touch much here, just only one change you could notice. We are passing in an element, and instead of see, people who have used React might know. So we basically, what we normally do, there is a root element which will be placed in the index.html file, right? What we do, we just fetch it and we try to mount our app inside that root. So that is what the same thing is happening here. If you see app root, we are checking if we are having an element, then mount it inside it, or otherwise you fall back to the traditional way, document.getElement by id root. Okay, okay. Now I come back to why I have created a web component. So this is nowhere related to Ember or React. This is how you create a custom HTML element. And I will tell you why we have done this. So initially we didn't follow this approach. We directly, integrated React within our app. So what happened? Our style starts to bleed. We were using Tailwind, or we are using Tailwind for our host app, that is our legacy code, and we are using Tailwind for our React app as well. So what happened? Tailwind configuration, right? Our host app styling was getting broken. So we managed to fix it using Tailwind prefix, increasing the specificity and all. But we felt that is not a cleaner approach. We can run into more issues. So what we thought, why can't we just wrap our React app inside web as a web component, or inside, why can't we just render it inside shadow root? So that's why we did this. So for now, consider this as our root file. Root file as in this is something that we are going to refer from our host app. For now, just consider. Say what we are doing here, a connected callback is nothing but a lifecycle method, and it will be called whenever we attach the element to the DOM, even custom element. And custom element dot define new MFE. The new MFE is going to be the tag that we are going to use. And only one change that you have to notice here, mount React app from the main.js file, right? This is something that we are calling here. This particular method, right? You are free to use whatever name you want to use. So this is something that I'm kind of calling here. So what it will do, ultimately it will render your React app inside this particular div, basically inside the shadow root. Okay. Okay. Now I told you, right, to consider index.js as our entry file, or the file that we are going to refer from our host app. So imagine whenever you are bundling it, this file will have an fingerprint attached to it. So for a React app, index.html is the entry point, and whatever asset we have entered over here will get automatically fingerprinted. So it is practically impossible for us to refer to this particular fingerprinted asset from our host app, because we never know, right, what is the new fingerprint that got added to it. So we had a workaround. We have done a workaround. So it's basically to create a manifest file. So nothing groundbreaking you have to do. You go to read-config.js and you enter that build manifest as true, and you set it as true. So whenever the app builds, you will get to see something like that, manifest.json, and it contains the basic object containing a key value mapping, and there you will get hold of the index.js with proper fingerprint added. So all that you need to know, is where is this manifest JSON located. Say in the sense you just need to load this from your host app, you will get hold of the index.js. So in order to write it much cleaner way, so what I'm going to the public folder of our React app, and I'm creating this particular file. Again, the name is something that you can choose. You can add any name. So I've chosen to create it as a app-loader.js. So you could see nothing but a simple module. You could see a basic method, mount app. Again, the name is up to you. Then we have to come back to this fetch method, and here you could see I am trying to fetch the manifest.json, and then I am trying to import that index.html.file. See, what we are trying to do is trying to get hold of the fingerprinted asset. So this is something which will be referred by our host app. Now it's fairly simple, right? Nothing groundbreaking happening. So here is where you create, if you notice, document.create element new MFE. New MFE is the custom element that we have created, and we are mounting it. We are appending it to an element that we receive as argument. I will come back to it from where I am getting that element and option. So this is it. This is the kind of changes that you need to make in your micro-frontend application. And okay, now coming back to the Ember app. So I've told you, right, we have to make only minimal change to our host app. See, all you have to do is to create Ember modifier. So modifier doesn't come built in with Ember. You have to install it, similar to installing a package. It's similar to creating a component in React or Ember. So there is a lifecycle method modify, and I'll come back to it. And you could see what we are doing here. Module await localhost some port and app-loader.js. So in the production environment, that localhost 4173 will be a CDN URL that you have to serve, and you can fetch the app-loader.js. You are basically importing app-loader.js. Basically, this file you are importing, right? And now what you are trying to do, you are fetching within this. You are calling. Then the next step is you are calling that mount app method. Mount app method, what it will do, it will trigger this method, and basically we will fetch the manifest file, and then we will fetch the index.js and we'll load it. Okay, and I've commented few lines. So that is how you could access this modifier from your component. So section is normal HTML tag, micro hyphen fp is the modifier name. In top you could see it, micro hyphen fp. So that is it. So that is the change that you need to make in your. That is a minimalistic change that you need to make in your Ember host app. And then inter-app communication. You have to have some way to pass data from your Ember host app to the React app, or React app back to the Ember host app. So this is, we made use of the post message API. So you could see here from the React micro-frontend app, we are passing a data and it is being received at the Ember end. We just added an event listener, listen to message event, and we process the data that is being sent from the React app using the callback. This can be done, vice versa. You can post a message from your Ember app and receive it inside your React app as well. And in order, you just execute the app, build and preview, build the app in preview mode, and to run the app, it's just Ember serve. I'll try to give you a demo if time permits. Okay, reception and impact. So we successfully managed to migrate our module to a micro-frontend app. Now we have isolated team who focus solely on that micro-frontend app. Now we have independent releases. We can deploy it whenever we want. We can deploy our changes whenever we want. Then exemplifying framework independence, we can choose, tomorrow if I wanted to change my framework, I'm free to do it. Or if I want to upgrade my version, React version, I'm free to do it without much tension. I just need to do a regression on my app, right? And seamless dev onboarding and reduce bundle size. I have mentioned reduce bundle size. Actually, it doesn't reduce anything. So basically, if you are adding on your Ember code itself instead of creating a micro-frontend app, what will happen? Your Ember bundle size will get increased, right? It will compound to your Ember bundle size. That is something that we practically avoided. And yeah, I have hosted the code in GitHub. This is the link, and I have attached few articles written by our architects in Freshworks, which could help you a lot. And yeah, before that, I tried to give you a demo. Give me a minute. I think it will be done in a minute. Okay. See, this is basically an Ember app. I have mounted React into it. I just click onto it. You could see, the React. Okay, let me see if React is running as well. Okay. Okay, we are up. Now, yeah, you could see the micro-frontend app getting mounted inside our Ember app, and this is how it will look like. You could see, right, our app got mounted inside the shadow root, and this is our React app. Yeah, so that is it. So thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you, Jits, for having me here. Thank you.